All right, today we're exploring biodiversity, but we're not going to do it from a textbook. No, we're going to see it through the eyes of a group of students on a nature walk. We're going to follow along with them as they learn to see the world in a whole new way, discovering this incredible variety of life that honestly is usually hidden in plain sight.
You know, let's just start with this Sanskrit proverb. It really speaks to this idea of generosity and how everything in nature is connected. And that right there, that's the very heart of what we're digging into today.
And here they are. This is our class, heading out into a local park. They've got two amazing guides leading the way. Dr. Raghu, who's a scientist, and Mani Ramji, a local expert who knows this park inside and out. I mean, this guy can identify almost any plant or animal, and he can even mimic their calls. The goal for the day is super simple. Experience the diversity of nature up close and personal.
So, the very first step on this journey. It isn't about trying to name every single species. Nope, it's about learning how to see, how to really, truly observe the world that's all around you.
Before they even started, Dr. Raghu laid down some ground rules. See, this wasn't just a casual stroll, it was more like a scientific expedition. He told the students to use all their senses, sight, smell, and especially their hearing. And the core rules were simple, but so important. Observe everything with respect, don't disturb a single thing, and write down everything you find.
With the rules all set, their first stop is the very foundation of this whole ecosystem, the absolutely incredible world of plants. Just look at the range they saw. On the one hand, you have a simple blade of grass, something we see every day and barely notice. And on the other, this incredibly complex and bright hibiscus flower. Both are plants, both are in the same park, but wow, they are worlds apart in how they're built.
They were encouraged to look for the details, to go beyond just saying, that's a plant. They started asking questions like, is the stem hard, like on a Tulsi plant, or is it soft like grass? How are the leaves arranged on the stem? What about the flower's color and shape? Asking these kinds of questions, that's the first real step to understanding what diversity is all about. And to keep all their findings organized, the students used a simple table. So for common grass, they'd note a soft, thin stem. For Tulsi, a hard stem with leaves that grow in opposite pairs. This simple act of writing it all down is what transforms just looking at stuff into creating useful, structured data.
Okay, so they're applying these same awesome observation skills, but now they're shifting their focus from the still world of plants to the always moving animal kingdom.
And let me tell you, this park was just humming with life. They saw butterflies fluttering from one flower to the next. They watched monkeys just effortlessly leaping between branches, and they stopped to really listen to that chorus of birdsong that was just filling the air.
And that's when one of the students has this aha moment. They realized the birdsong wasn't just random noise, it was a symphony of distinct, different calls. Dr. Raghu explained that every single bird species has its own unique call. It's a whole other layer of diversity that you only pick up on when you really, really listen. Mani Ramji even jumped in and started mimicking some of them.
And you guessed it, just like they did with the plants, they started categorizing the animals. Take the crow. Its habitat is the tree. It eats insects, and it flies. Now compare that to an ant. It lives in the soil, eats leaves and seeds, and walks around on 6 legs. The differences just pop right out when you organize them like this.
Okay, so let's pause. The students have seen dozens of plants and animals. Their notebooks are getting full. The huge question now is, what do you actually do with all this information? How do you start to make sense of so much variety?
I mean, this is the challenge every scientist faces, right? When you are just confronted with this massive amount of data, in this case, all these observations of different living things, how do you even begin to sort it out in a way that shows you patterns and connections?
Turns out the process is actually beautifully simple. First, you observe really carefully, which, check, they've already done. Second, you find a feature that some of them have in common. And third, you just put all the ones that share that feature into a group. That's it. That's classification in a nutshell.
And this part is so cool. It highlights a really key idea. There's no single correct way to classify things. If you decide to group them by where they live, well, the ant and the cow end up together on land. But if you group them by what they eat, suddenly the cow and the butterfly are partners because they're both plant eaters. The way you categorize completely depends on which feature you decide to focus on.
So let's zoom out from all the specific plants and animals and look at the big picture. All this variety they've been observing, it has a name, and it is incredibly important.
And that name is biodiversity. It's the grand total of everything the students saw, plus everything they didn't see, like all the fungi and tiny microorganisms. And, as the definition here says, it's not just a big collection of species. Every single one, from the tallest tree to the tiniest ant, has a unique and vital role to play.
Why? Because it's not just a collection, it's a network. It's a massive web of life where every single organism is connected, one way or another, to everything else.
I mean, just think about this simple example. Trees give birds food and a place to live. And in return, the birds eat the fruit and then fly off, spreading the seeds far and wide, which helps new trees grow. This give and take, this interdependence, is exactly what makes an ecosystem healthy and strong. When you remove even one piece, the whole web can start to weaken.
And here it is, the beautiful result of their walk. Back in their outdoor classroom, the students are all drawing the different things they saw on one giant blackboard. But look, they aren't just drawing individual creatures. They're recreating the entire ecosystem, showing how everything they observed actually fits together.
You know, this entire incredible experience came from just a simple walk in a park. It just goes to show you don't need some fancy lab to study biology. The world is the laboratory. So I guess the question we're left with is, what wonders are waiting just outside your door? What will you discover?